joining the stream tonight, for supporting the Mindset Elevator every day that you guys do. Really appreciate it. I'm going to come here with some heat. I'm going to come here with some facts. Okay. I'm going to come and spit some real talk tonight on this live stream. Okay. People cannot deal with the fact that they've been blocked from your life. People cannot deal with the fact that they can no longer have access to you. Perhaps access has completely been cut off. All right. And so folks are feeling the weight of that. People are feeling the stress of that, that they cannot get into your energy. They cannot get into your life. They cannot do anything that they want to do. They can't distract you. They can't siphon you. They can't steal. They can't, make a mockery out of you. All right, everybody, I'm going to get into it for sure. I thank you guys so much for joining me today on this stream tonight. All right. It's a nice night. Thank you, everybody. Hey, Lamont, nice to see you. Hey, media. Hope you guys are feeling great. Thank you guys for the support. I'm always happy to be here. Let me adjust my chair here, my one-armed chair. I'm so happy to be here, everybody. And, I'm going to come and I'm going to talk about this because it's very interesting that, when people have their access blocked to you, when people cannot access you anymore, they can't effectively be in your world anymore, they can't be all up in your grill anymore, they're going to live to regret the things that they did that led to that conclusion. You know what I mean? So whatever they did, whatever dirt, whatever problems they brought to your doorstep, right? It backfired because now they're probably blocked from your life and cannot be a participant in your life, right? Because you probably don't welcome that kind of energy. Now they regret everything that they did. Or perhaps they really start to second guess the choices they made as it relates to you. And so now it's kind of like they're in this limbo zone where they don't even know how to move now because a real one, you, who was there for them, who maybe provided for them, you were a listening ear, you were a confidant, you could have helped these people with resources. It's a lot of things that you could have done that perhaps a lot of people took for granted or took advantage of. It's quite possible. And so now it's come to the point where you're like, nah, I'm not going to be dealing with this situation anymore. You're cut off, right? And it could have been no malice attached as well. When people think cut off, they just think like ruthless and, cold hearted and things like that. Perhaps what they did was cold, and what you're doing in response to that is just what's required at this point, right? If people are doing us dirty, we got a boogie, right? If people are trying to screw with our heads and try to play us for fools or try to control us or whatever the tactic might be in their eyes, we're not having that, right? Because we know what we like and we know what is acceptable for us. And if people are trying to screw with us, then it's like, screw all of that, like forget all of that, right? Just cut the cord, cut the tie, and move on. People are going to be surprised that like they cannot get into your energy the way that perhaps they used to be able to get into your energy, right? Perhaps they cannot call you, they cannot link you, they cannot hang, right? Whereas maybe before you were readily accessible, right? Like you made time for them, or it could be to where things were different, things were cool back then, things seemed innocent back then. And now it's like everything's just kind of weird, kind of fake feeling, perhaps. You could see probably how people are really moving with you, and you could feel that it's off. And it's like, why am I having to deal with this? Why am I going to bring this going forward into my life when I have options, when I could cut these people off or cut the tie, cut the cord, cut the losses, right? Because sometimes you got to lose, right, to win, right? And that's and you got to clear your plate, right? And you got to clear the way for positivity. If there are too many negative things overgrowing in your life, where's the plot for positivity? Where's the space, right? Where's the growth? How can you grow when it's cultivated, overly cultivated with negativity, right? We have to always take stock of what's going on around us. And perhaps you did that. And you did that in a way of realizing that there's certain things in your life that are transpiring that are not serving you anymore. You had to do what you had to do, right? And it may come off as ruthless. People might think, oh, you're mean, you're so rude. Why would you end that connection? Or why would you do that? Like, that's so cold. Can't we just talk this out? And it's like, so what you did wasn't cold, right? Or how you were moving wasn't grimy. What you were doing, thinking that you were playing me for a fool, that was okay, right? But then when I cut you off, That's the real kicker. It's just kind of ironic, right? Josh says, because desire is what holds us back. Right. Yep. Nice to see you, everybody. Hey, Nadia. Hey, everybody. Hey, Peculiar. Hope you guys are doing great. Hey, Lou Pam. Hey, sir from Australia. Nice to see you. So happy that you guys are here today. So happy that you guys are here tonight. And I thank you guys for the support. Once people have been blocked from your energy, they know it's a serious thing. They know there's a heavy loss. A real one that was in their life or in their corner like you is no longer around, right? It's going to be a very jarring feeling or realization when the perpetrators have to come to this conclusion here, right? That they can't be around you like that. They cannot come around you. They cannot call you. If you see them, you may have to put your head down, like you're not even trying to be around them like that, right? And to communicate with them like that because perhaps they move grimy, right? You can't trust them. They did too much. It could be certain things that they were doing that really got the wheels turning in your mind like there's something off about the situation and it's starting to bug me and it's starting to cause me anxiety, stress, it's depleting me. I can't sleep, I can't eat. Nobody should take up that much residency in our life to that degree where we can't even function as human beings. We can't function within the realm of what we want to function in because of negative situations. It should never be coming to that point, right? That's how you know you have a problem that needs to be eradicated. That there's stress, drama, cheating, scandals, all these crazy things that could be taking, liars, thieves, right? People who are just doing a lot of dirty things and low down things and really causing mayhem to unfold. No, sometimes you got to cut these people off, and they're going to realize that they went too far or a step too far. They took it too far. They pushed this envelope or this agenda that they had to the degree that there is no return. Like they can't fix this. The only way for it to be fixed or to be remedied is for you to boogie, right? Or to salvage your mind. That's really the only fixing here. It may not be to where you can fix that union or that union can be resurrected. You got to sometimes just wipe your hands clean of whatever negative situations unfolded and, take your loss and kind of move on, right? And people will realize when you're no longer around that you didn't really mean no harm. You weren't trying to do anything negative. You weren't trying to be no type of grimy way. People will take advantage of those who are kind, right? Perhaps you were very kind. So people just rolled with that. They played with that until they couldn't play anymore, right? People might think we don't know anything. We're so nice. Our heads are in the clouds, and they're not seeing that we're taking inventory of all the negative things, how things switched, how things turned. Like we see, right? We see everything that's going on. It's just that because maybe we have a pleasant disposition, that people think we don't know nothing, that they're fooling us, that they're pulling the wool over our eyes. And then when they get cut off, now they have a few choice words with us. Now they feel negative. Now they feel melancholy. Now they want to spread lies about how that happened, or now they want to try to reconcile and make things right. But the whole time that they were playing games, they thought it was just all fun. You know, it's very interesting. Truth says no losses, only lessons that turn to blessings. Right. Absolutely. Eric says it feels good to overcome. Absolutely. Josh says that's what we're supposed to do. Treat others how you wish to be treated, though. Right. Aranita, thank you for that. That's super generous of you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. Lou Pam says those days are over. India says, yep, my ex inboxed me saying, you were a good person. I already know what I am. Don't need him to tell me anything. They will come back after the fact, after this relationship has been severed, after that union or that situation has fizzled out. These folks will come back, right? And they'll try to hit you up like either nothing happened or, try to make it seem like things are still cool and everything's still okay. And, even years, I'm talking about even decades down the line, it's because you have a memorable vibrance to you, right? Where people remember you, people feel you, people miss you. Like when you're not around, people realize that there is this void. There's this obvious problem here, and it's a hole that cannot be filled because you were the filler, you were that, right? And so now, you know, as India detailed here, people will hit you up after the fact. It could be an ex spouse, an ex lover, right? It could be somebody you had a falling out with, things just didn't go right. And they're trying to hit you up now and talk to you about how you're this, you're that, you're still cute. Oh, you're looking nice. You're taking care of yourself. Wow, I see you have that new whip now. Or, oh, I see you're doing this, doing that. Maybe we should hang and things like that. It's kind of superficial, you know, a lot of the times, and it's for self-serving purposes, even for their ego, I would say, right? To try to like after the fact, try to make it seem like everything is okay, and even like coming back after the fact with gaslighting tactics, try to make it seem like everything, you know, it wasn't really that bad and you're overreacting. It could be like that where people come back, you're thinking they're trying to make things right, but really they're trying to like shame you for cutting them off, for moving different with them and things. You gotta do what you gotta do. You absolutely must do what you have to do. If what you have to do involves letting go, then that's what has to take place, right? Because folks don't understand how busy of a person that you are. They don't understand that you have a calling that needs to be attended to, right? And they don't understand that negativity and drama and mayhem, though most of the world's residents love that stuff and they revel in that, not you. You know what I mean? Like you got to boogie and you got to boogie with a clear mind. Like you cannot have this negative wayward baggage that is attached to your name or attached to your character, identity, life in any capacity. You know, it has to be expunged. And so, you know, a lot of folks, because there's a lot of misery in this world, people just don't understand that. How you mitigate the negativity, even if it involves cutting them off, you know, getting away from them, ghosting them, like they can't comprehend that because they think that everybody is just so used to the negativity, but not you. You don't want to be used to it or you don't want it to be a part of your reality. You get rid of it, you deal with that, right? And so you're going to offend people when it's time to cut things out, cut them off, cut habits off. You know, when you have to block somebody because they keep harassing you, maybe you have to file a restraining order or two, like getting the law involved. It could be like that, where you're having to do drastic things to get people out of your energy and to keep them there, right? Where they can't infiltrate your life. You got to keep them in a specific spot. They have to be forced in that spot quite a ways away from yourself, you know, and sometimes that's the only thing that works, right? When you really have to like push them away, and to set that clear boundary that you've resigned from this situation, like you're not about to deal with all of that, right? You have a bright mind with a bright future. This pairing cannot be compromised, and you know, so people are going to be like really stunned that they're kind of a part of that removal or purge, right? Where it's kind of like they can't hang, they can't be around like that, not like that. You know, if they don't come with positivity, they can't hang, right? If they're trying to come with some mess and some drama and trying to rope you into it, we cannot be friends. You might be my blood relative. We cannot talk like that. I cannot tell you my business like that. We can't be around each other like that. I mean, some people, unfortunately, you're going to have to love from a distance. Even some people you will have to block, but they will not fully be removed from your life. Like you may still see them from, you know, time to time, but it's not going to be like how it used to be, perhaps like close knit and very open and very, you know, forthcoming and things like that. A lot of the times, when you cut people off, they don't fully go away. Like they're still associated with you in some capacity. And so, you know, they'll feel that shift like, hey, I still see you, but I don't feel the same energy coming off of you. But they don't take into account what they could have possibly done to bring about this change in you. They don't think about that. That kind of goes over their head a little bit. where they're kind of thinking that you're just behaving improperly or you're being, you're overreacting in some way. And why are they getting this treatment? Why are they getting the boot? Why can't they call you? Why can't they reach you? Right? But they're overshadowing over all the mess that they could have concocted, right? All the drama, all the lies that they told, that you took, right? For the truth, maybe at some point of time. It's like a lot of games that were played. And then people think that everything's just going to go back to normal and you'll still dap them up and everything's cool. The world is a stage. That's what they say, right? The world is a stage. A lot of people are just are acting, right? And are so attached and so used to the negativity that it blurs lines, right? It blurs lines. And so when you're being real and you have to do what you got to do and you got to move on and you got to block, delete, whatever you have to do, people are going to see you as being unreasonable or being unhinged, even. Like, why are you doing all that? Why are you have to make it so brazen and make it so raw, right? But you got to do what you got to do. We all have a cap that should not be compromised, right? And we all have limits, especially with stress and everything like that, right? So folks are regretting as well. They regret what they did. They absolutely regret it. Even if they don't say it, even if it seems unlikely, even if their conduct was poor, you know what I mean? Like perhaps when you severed the tie, you blocked them, they acted poorly to you after the fact, or they were up in arms and they were argumentative with you after the fact, like a jilted lover, for example. Like, I'm done with you. Nah, we're not being together anymore. Or I'm going to file divorce papers. It's done. It's over. Right? They may behave improperly when you do exit. So it'll seem like they don't care or that, they're done with you too. But a lot of the time, they're really not. Like they cannot cope with your absence very well. That's why they lash out in the first place. A lot of times people react emotionally and it's just void of logic, right? Instead of people trying to make things right and trying to get down to the bottom of the nitty gritty details, they don't want to talk about the nitty gritty details because they know it's deeper, right? And they don't want to address, they don't want to take accountability for what it is that they've done, right? So a lot of relationships just go south because when somebody does something wrong and it's their job to rectify it, they don't wish to do that, right? They wish to play these little juvenile games where they don't have to address anything, they don't have to change, they don't have to improve. And you just have to roll with the punches. You just got to be okay with that. There's nothing you could do, there's no recourse you have. You must deal with their negativity or else, right? And so when you're like, bun that, I'm going to block you, right? I'm not going to deal with you. I don't need to deal with you. I have options. I got a life to live. I'm looking forward to a lot of nice things. I don't need you like that, right? They think that they're holier than thou, that you need them. A lot of the times they need you, right? People feed on your energy and things like that. I wouldn't be surprised if folks are intoxicated by your energy and like to attach themselves to you. Start thinking that they are an extension of you. And so when you exit and you cut them off or you block them, they feel like they've lost something of themselves that they can't get back because it's not their essence. It was your essence and it's fleeting, right? So it's quite interesting. Nadia says, they don't know that we know. They got to learn the hard way. Exactly. India says, they love to exaggerate too. Yep. India says they got energy thirsty. Yep. Hey Cam, how are you doing? Hope you're doing nice. Thank you everybody for being here tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are to be celebrated, clap for. Keep doing you guys thing for sure. Keep doing what you guys love to do. Keep shining. Shine, shine, shine for sure. Don't let anybody take you off your grind. You got to shine. You got to be the best person you could be. Like there's no doubt about it. You got to do what makes you happy in this world. Even if it involves cutting somebody off, blocking somebody, moving away from somebody, divorcing somebody, separating, cutting off that toxic person, moving away, changing homes, whatever. there's so many ways to rid yourself of the calamities that have been unfolding. Um, and so people are going to be regretting and or are already in regret, right, for the things that they've perpetrated against you. They know that they can't turn the clocks back. That's not a possibility. And perhaps the grievance they committed is so severe that there's no rectifying it, like they just went too far, right? So they have no recourse here. They have to watch you walk away, and they can't just get you back because you're not regular like that, right? You're not a punching bag. You're not going to be played with. So when they see you walking away, they feel the sting, and they know that this is a different type of departure. This is not regular. This is not the normal feeling that they would, experience. This is a real one, like you walking away, cutting all ties when you try to be good, when you try to be faithful, or you try to be kind, giving, understanding, accommodating, hospitable, charitable, you name it. You probably were that to a lot of people. And here come the folks, they come in, they swoop in, they see somebody they could take advantage of, see somebody they could swindle, talk down to, and try to intimidate, try to control, right? Control is, it's just one of those things that breaks the camel's back. Once you're trying to control me, we have a really, really massive issue. Once you're trying to dictate how I'm supposed to move, nope, it has to be dealt with right away, right? That's where people start really losing their minds, when they cannot control. Control is certainly a currency to a lot of people. If you had to block somebody because they're trying to control you, you did the right thing, because you do not want to be shackled by people's negativity, right? You do not want to be bound and chained and stuck by someone's complex, their issues or their vices, or whatever they're not dealing with by themselves, or for themselves. They're trying to put problems onto you, make it like your issue, like projection, right? Mm-mm. Nope. Control can't fly. Can't fly. And so if you have to block somebody because they're trying to control you, if you're trying to get rid of somebody or get rid of a situation because it's controlling you in some capacity, you're doing the right thing, right? Because when someone can control you, they could scare you. You're at their will. It's a lot of things that they can bring forth, a lot of havoc they could wreak, because they have us dumbed down, right? If they have us in that compromising position, we're more malleable, right? Therefore, we could be played with. And, we don't want to put ourselves in that sort of position here at all, right? So, there's a few people I had to block because they're too controlling, or they're, they're trying to be an extension of me, or trying to live vicariously through me. It's just certain things I can't allow, right, to take place. Control, and anger and projection. Sometimes you got to block people, man. And then when they're trying to hit you up, they're going to make it seem like they didn't do anything. It wasn't like that. That's not what they intended to do. That's not how they wanted to come off, right? A lot of gaslighting, a lot of hoovering, where they just want to rope you back into the problems, right? And hoping that you stay stuck to them because they apologize or they're trying to appear sincere, right? It's a game. Once you realize it's a game, you won't play, right? It's a lot of things that I got myself into, and I saw the game being played. I saw the signs, but I would ignore it because of whatever union I had with them, or whatever desire, whatever I thought I was getting from that dynamic or situation. You cannot ignore the signs, right? I believe that when we are showed signs, or when we have a gut feeling, more times than not, it's very correct. There's a reason why you feel a certain way about a certain thing, person, place, situation. It's something to explore at the minimum. Don't push it out of your mind, right? Consider the situation. Perhaps there are other extenuating factors that are kind of lining up with what you believe. And so it seems like perhaps something could be going on, or something needs to be changed here. Something's getting out of hand. Always mitigate your situation. But I've had to block a lot of people. And I really don't regret it, right? I mean, if it's for me to salvage my mind, I'll do it, right? Because I always want to have a clear mind. I always want to be able to live my best life, and I know that's not going to be very easy if my mind is clouded, And we all go through fog, right? But I'm talking about like long-term chronic mental fog, right? Like that's something I cannot subscribe to, right? I have to deal with that right away, right? And whatever it is that's causing that, it needs to be eradicated. I just can't let it, flourish. I need to deal with the situation. If I have to cut somebody off, I will. If I have to leave a certain place, I will. Like whatever I got to do which is in within my reasonable, means to do, I will do it. Even if it's a temporary fix here, or even if it's something to hold off a calamity for a while, as long as it's, safeguarding me, right? I'll do it. I'll do it for sure. I have no problems blocking somebody out of my life. I have no qualms about that. I will do it, right? Because, here's the thing that I've noticed as well. That when you're planning something good for yourself, or when you're looking forward to something really positive, and the folks who are attacking you are not, right? Just remember, like, they don't care, right? They do not care. They have nothing to lose. They will sabotage you. They'll talk down to you, gaslight you, try to get into your head about everything, knowing that they have no plans and you do. They know there's parallels, and they don't care, right? So when I've had to block a person off, normally when I assess their life very quickly, I could see that things are at a stalemate or there's something off, and that's why they're attacking me, because they don't really have nothing going on, right? Not to say they cannot or they will never have nothing to look forward to again, but in that moment of time where they're trying to get at me, or they're trying to do things that they know are wayward and problematic, it's like when I look and see the makeup of their life right now at that current time, it's a lot of chaos. And they're trying to put that in my life. And so I'm very hyper aware about the tactics and the ploys people do, and the fact that an idle mind is dangerous. That's what they say, or something similar. That when you're too idle, when you're sitting around and you're not making moves and nothing's really popping up, you don't have a positive spirit, these are the type of people who will lurk and watch and stalk and hate and plot, because they don't have nothing positive to look forward to in their own life. That's how it is a lot of the times, right? And so if they hurt you, if they sabotage you, they don't care. If they stall something for you, if you trip, if you slip up, that's just joy. That's just a part of the joy for them. That's a part of the entertainment. And it's very scary. So if you've had to block people who are, purposely sabotaging your life, purposely impeding your life, impeding your path, you did the right thing. Because oftentimes their path is overgrown, they're not dealing with it, they're not manicuring it, they're not attending to it, they're seeing everything fall apart, and then seeing for you everything's being put together, and they can't accept that, right? So you have to block people who are natural sabotagers and who don't like to see you win, or who, anytime you mention something good you're doing, they're trying to like destroy that or ruin the fun or ruin the celebration. Mm-mm. No. No, no, like it has to be mitigated, for sure. Like it has to be dealt with. Some people just deserve to be blocked. Why am I going to let you run free in my life or run free in my mind? Knowing how you move, seeing what you do, seeing what you're capable of, I'm the fool. You know what I mean? I'm the fool if I allow for this to take place, and I'm recognizing it and I'm not doing anything about it. That's within my means to do, right? So sometimes a person just has to be blocked. Sometimes a person just has to be left behind. Not everybody can go where you're going, and that is the truth, because your path is very, very, very specially crafted, right? Not everybody can go on your odyssey with you, because not everybody not everybody's mind is clear. They're not maybe on the stage or the level or did the work like you did. There's a lot of parallels, right? And so, where you're trying to go ahead in life, you're trying to go up in life, and you're realizing that people are just dropping like flies, like not in the way that it sounds, but or not in the context that it sounds, but more of where you think that you're building a collection of real ones, or people are riding for you, everybody's happy, everybody's celebrating. It's like less and less people are around, or there's less good vibes, or there's less, you may feel that negative energy when you're doing well in life. Finally, it could be like that. Yep, it could definitely be like that. Lynn says misery loves company. Josh says that's why they say crabs in a bucket, because they always try to drag you down to their level and ruin your frequency. Oh, yeah. And sometimes it's so subtle. They're so calculating a lot of the times when they do this. They have it down to a craft where these people, they'll make it seem like they're not doing anything. They know exactly what they're perpetrating, and they've mastered this, and they know how to push your buttons. They know what to say with a smile that gets a frown on your face. It's like diabolical. Diabolical work, dirty work, grimy work, whatever other synonym we could think of here tonight. Mm-hmm. Just grimy folks, just people who they don't move right, right? They're not doing things for the right reasons. They don't have a pure, they don't have pure intentions, perhaps, right? They get jealous for everything about everyone who's even taking incremental steps. Like, you know, you might be wondering, like, why are people moving that way with me? I'm not even where I want to be. It doesn't matter. They see it in the bigger picture. They see what is being built, what is being crafted, what is yours. They see how grand it is. They see it before you see it a lot of the time. That's why people act funny, right? And they could be sabotaging what isn't fully even here yet, or what isn't even fully finished yet for you, what isn't fully ready to be delivered to you. It's like people are trying to deter you from making those preliminary steps, or from you not celebrating your little wins. It could be like that. For sure, for sure. Hey, Platinum, hope you're doing nice. Thank you, Dubs, so much for that. Thank you for that, Dubs. Thank you. Hey, Kevin, nice to see you. Haven't seen you in a minute. Nice to see you, everybody. Thank you, Cam. You not lying. Yeah. Tammy says they hate your silence because they don't know what you're thinking, right, Tammy? It's like they don't know what you're thinking, what you're gonna do next, how you're gonna move next. Are you mad? Are you not? Like, who did you tell people what's going on? Like, what's gonna be the next steps in this union or in this situation, right? Mm-mm. I always try to keep things very candid on this channel because I don't like to waste anybody's time, right? With unnecessary fluff. And um and I really want to say that, it pays to be real, it pays to be true, and it pays to stand your ground, right? And don't let anybody make you feel bad about standing your ground and protecting yourself, protecting your kids, protecting your home, protecting your livelihood, whatever is being compromised in your world right now. Don't let anybody make you feel bad from taking the appropriate steps, right? To put everything at bay. This is what you felt like you had to do. Sometimes you got to move away once again. You got to block somebody. You got to delete. You got to quit that job, resign, change the entire career path, cut that family member off, divorce, break up. It's a lot of things that, even though it brings a lot of heaviness to do, right? I'm not trying to gloss over how hard it can be to have to take these steps, right? But the glory afterwards, and the peace afterwards, and the sleep afterwards, the peace of mind that you have, that you didn't have when it wasn't being dealt with. There's no comparison when you have your peace. When you are feeling peaceful and feeling tranquil, and you feel that everything's working out because you dealt with the situation, there's nothing that tops that feeling. So don't feel bad when you have to take these drastic steps to make everything okay again, right? You got to do what you got to do, right? And people are going to regret what they've done. They're gonna see that there's no reconciling here. There's no apology. I mean, they can apologize up and down the street, but really, is it gonna change things? Is it going to make you want them back in your life, or you trusting? What if it's a trust thing, right? Like once that trust has been severely tampered with, how do you move forward with these individuals? How can you trust them again, even after their apologies? How can you look at them the same sometimes? Even sometimes, they do things that are very evil or very toxic. And it's like now you're trying to make it seem like nothing happened. Um, it's just diabolical. Some people do a lot of evil things and think that you should just look past it and just forgive them and move on. And you could forgive them. There's no doubt. You could say, you know what, I'm appreciative of your apology. I thank you so much for that. But that doesn't mean that there's going to be a reconciliation. That doesn't mean that I trust you enough to let you back into my life again. Like that's the shaky part, or that's the part that cannot happen. Right. So, if they've been blocked, they may know that they cannot come back, right? There's no coming back from what they've done. There's no sorry, and then it just erases everything that had taken place. Then they want to act all wild when they, after they did all that dirt, they want to be up in arms because you took that step, right? Where you had to block them, you had to delete, you had to ignore, you had to ghost them, whatever you had to do. It happens. No harm, no foul. Like sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and I'm all for that. And also, I would like to say that jealousy is a disease. When somebody has a jealous spirit to the point where it will affect how they move or what they do or their thought process, and that they'll actually go out there on the prowl to destroy and sabotage, these individuals must be blocked, especially if they're affecting you in some way. If someone's jealousy and envy and anger, and you know how that looks, if they're doing stuff like this, doing sabotaging behaviors because of jealousy, because of disdain for you or competition, it's just hindering. And so you definitely want to consider whether or not these are people or these are situations that you want to continue to move with, right? A lot of people are competitive. A lot of people are just, they live for the rush of competition. They live for the rush for clout chasing. I don't understand clout chasing. I don't get why it's a thing, right? Why people do certain things. They'll go so far just to get attention, right? And then even like causing harm to other people, or uh, committing terrible offenses, or doing dangerous stunts, just doing really crazy things for clout, right? It's like when you're deeper and when you're more knowledgeable and when you make better moves, you're going to be a target because it's unlike the norm. It's not what the majority considers doing, right? So you gotta, sometimes you're gonna feel like you're blocking a whole lot of people, right? Because a lot of people have these, Jezebel spirits or negative energy or superficial vibes. And it's like, where are my people? Right? Where's the real ones? Where's the good vibes, right? Where's the realness? Where's the people being genuine? Where is all of that? It's like you can't find it, right? Does it even exist? Well, it does exist, but feels like it's in increments or something, right? So, no doubt, block all that you need. Block whatever you whatever you need to block, whoever you need to block. If people do you dirty, you cannot allow that to take over your life. You cannot allow these people in your life. It doesn't matter who it is, or if they're sad, crying about it. If people have done you dirty, and that's what I'm talking about. If people have done you dirty, right? They gotta go, right? They cannot continue to wreak havoc. There have to be consequences. People have to be held accountable for what they do. And it seems like a human fear or something to take accountability for what one does, right? It's a super simple concept, but people act like it's complex. A lot of times it's the people who, you know, are narcissistic in nature, or people who are just used to getting their way. Like they're not about to apologize to you. They're not about to make things right. You just have to cope with what they are, who they are. You have to deal with it, right? You can only imagine how it gets their mind reeling when you're like, no, I'm not going to do what 99% of the population do to you or how they treat you. I'm going to be that 1%. You're outie. you know, you cannot hang with me like that. You cannot, I'm not going to let you do nothing like that to me. Right? Pray for everybody that you do that to, but I'm sorry. Like you're not going to be able to do that to me though. Right? Like that's where we draw the line. That's where you're going too far. When you start taking a stand and speaking up against things that people are quiet about, or that people have been dumbed down about, you're going to have a target on your back. People are going to be really riled up about you, trying to fight you, trying to put you in your place, try to get you to fold, try to blame you for things you didn't do, try to make you feel miserable because they don't like the outcome. They don't appreciate the fact that they're being outed or they're being exposed for what they've done, their bad deeds, their poor choices. um they'll try to deflect by attacking you or getting at you or trying to make you look like the culprit. And all you're trying to do is live your best life. It's just that simple. All you have to do is live your best life. And that's when the attacks come on strong. When people see that you're getting yourself focused, right on track, you're focused, you're healthy, you're thriving, everything's looking good, that's when people come and attack. They can't have that happening. They don't want to see the growth. They want to see you on the same level as everybody else. And no, you're meant to fly. You're meant to take off. You're meant to be a standout. You know what I mean? So it's quite interesting. Yeah, Just Z says these people want to tear you down, but no, what they're really doing is building us up. A lot of the time, when people think that they're breaking us down, they're just showing us how resilient we are and that we can make moves, we can boogie, we can get out of here. I don't need you, I don't need this. Like they think the attacks are having a certain effect, but it's actually having an adverse effect. These people are building us up. They're building us up. When they try to say we're not special, or we don't have skills, or we're not smart, we get to show how smart we actually are, and the skills we do have, and what we have been working on, and how wrong they actually are. Then they don't want, then here comes the chit chat. Here comes the rumors and the lies. Mm-mm. Nope. I noticed that people always want to ruin a good thing, right? A good vibe, a good, I've been around people, man. As soon as they pull up, it's just negativity. Why did you come? And it's like, what are you doing? Right? Why are you, inappropriate, acting away? And it's kind of like, and when you try to have a deep conversation with them, or you try to talk, spit facts, whatever, educate, talk about your accolades, what you're working on, things like, you can't talk to these people, right? Because it's like when you're talking about what you're doing well on, or if you're the life of the party, or if you're having a good time, and if you like to share your good news and things like that, these folks, they'll ruin the vibe. They'll ruin the whole feeling, the whole vibe. Party's done, events done. Um, it's bizarre, very bizarre. And so once again, if you feel like somebody is really messing up the vibe, in your life, and making things uncomfortable for you, and making things strained for you, to where you cannot even be yourself, or you can't even speak on certain things or have intellectual conversations, it's time to boogie. It's time to boogie for sure. Just remember, you don't got to deal with anything you don't want to deal with. Just remember that you do not have to deal with anything or anyone that you do not want to deal with. You literally have a smorgasbord of options waiting for you, right? So Never make anybody or anything make you feel as though you are trapped in a situation, because you are not trapped. That's how they want you to feel like you are bound or that you are stuck. But in all actuality, they know all the options that you actually have. And so do you. I'm sure you understand that you have a lot of things to look forward to, and you can make any move you want to make and live the life you want to live without boundaries being involved. Like you can go high, right? And so, sometimes you got to block people and block situations so you can go higher, right? It's not where, oh, everybody, all, it's all love. It's all, nope, no. Like sometimes you really got to move away, step away, not to say to isolate, but definitely realize that when something's off or when something's wrong, something's not working out, it's best to keep it out. It's best to let it go, because it's going to start weighing you down. And then you're not going to be able to really drive that needle forward because of what's weighing you down that hasn't been dealt with, right? So let's all deal with our life stressors in the best possible ways with the resources we have, the tools that we have, like you are not stuck, right? You have options. You are not stuck. You are free, right? And use your freedom to your advantage. In whatever way it applies to your world, use your freedom. You have choices. If you got to move, move. If you got a divorce, divorce. I mean, you would have been seeing the signs that it's just coming to that, right? If you got to cut that family member off because they're snaky, what's stopping you? Right? I mean, if they're affecting you so much so that you cannot be yourself, something needs to be done, right? It can't just get worse. I mean, it could if we don't deal with it, right? And you can't change people all the time, but you can change how you move. You could change what you do, right? You can change what happens in your world, the elements of your life. That's what you have control over. And so enact those changes, whatever you feel that would elevate you further, make you happier, make you peaceful. You should definitely hone in onto that, right? Yep. Cam says, do what you got to do, right? Mm-hmm. Right. Lou Pam says, forward, let toxicity behind. Right. Right. Josh says they give us fair warnings about them. It's on us to pay attention and learn. Right. Mm-hmm. She says, I always walk away. Folks hate me for it. If there's a reason I could think of right now that would explain why people get so mad when you leave, they get so bent out of shape when you depart, it's because they cannot control you. They cannot control you. They cannot dictate how you live your life. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what you're going to do. They don't know how you're going to move. They can't control you. They cannot personally use you as a puppet, right? And so it gets them mad because they can't really come out and say that, like, oh, I can't control this guy or I can't control this woman. They're not going to say that. And so it gets them mad because, they can't really come out and say why they're really feeling that way, why they're really bent out of shape because you don't want to be around them. They know what they do. They know what they've done. They know what they've perpetrated. You just leaving is a result. You blocking them is a reaction to perhaps the long string of mess that they've left, and so, they're going to get mad. They're going to get huffy. They're going to get haughty, right? About, why did you do this? And, oh, why are you not answering my phone calls? They're very aggressive, very demanding. And it's like when you demanded answers for why they were moving in a certain type of way, they're tight-lipped, they don't want to answer any questions, or they're trying to stay away from the interrogation, or they don't want to be fair, they don't want to exchange any words with you or give you any explanation. But when you depart, they need to know why. They need to know, they're demanding answers, they're demanding you to come back to reconsider this, that, and the third. Eventually you have to wipe your hands clean of these negative circumstances. You have to scrub. You know how the doctors scrub before the surgeons? How they scrub themselves down before they start a surgery? Like that's how much you have to scrub your, like you have to aggressively and carefully and painstakingly scrub what does not work for you anymore, what does not serve you anymore, who is toxic, what is toxic. You got to wipe it clean. Like you got to resign. You got to completely just be like, I'm done with it. This is not for me. This is not mine. I don't want it. Flush it away. You know, it's a purge. It's a purge. It really is like purging what is not good for you anymore. Like literally to its very bare bones, getting rid of it, right? Because it's not helping us, right? It's not elevating us, it's not bringing us to higher realms, it's not making us happy. You ever feel depleted and sad and anxious and uncomfortable because of the negative situation happening in your life? Have you ever felt like, oh, like I can't even think straight, you know, I can't even concentrate, I can't even do what I want to do? You know, I lost the love, or I lost the feeling, like, you know, you start feeling really distracted because of the negativity, right? If it's affecting your mind that severely, something has to be done, right? Like something has to give, right? You know, the mind is first, and you have to take care of your brain. If you don't take care of your brain, nothing is going to be taken care of. And that is the truth, right? Where if your mind is compromised, and if you feel negative and low about life, or you're not feeling positive, it can actually affect your health physically, physiologically, you know, like really hurt you, right? If you're not taking stock of your mind, what's happening up here. This is paramount. This is what a lot of people are afraid of, and they don't want to, and it's sometimes it's hard to tackle what happens in your mind. The mind is super complex, and so many layers, so many things, but to the best of your ability, because I know you know how, right? To keep your mind right. You probably have many regimens that you do to do this, you know, like going for walks, exercise, traveling, spending time, going out for a little day walk, going out with your family, working on your hobby, working on your business, running around, you know, drinking water, taking your vitamins, doing things that make you feel really good, like down to the core, very good about yourself. Journaling, making your plans, agendas, you know, putting everything on paper, making the plans for what you're going to do next in your career, in your life, looking for new homes to move to, looking to get a change of scenery. You know what to do. You know what to do. Nobody knows better than you. You know exactly what will work, right? And so, you know, and in order to get what's going to work, and in order to be able to enact these changes, you had to purge what isn't working, right? What's having the opposite effect on your life. Who is targeting you, or who is bothering you, or who is causing drama to unfold, like whatever negative situation that it could be. Once again, in order to be able to welcome in the blessings and the love and the joy, you have to like get rid of what is not working, what is taking up space and is causing harm, you know? It's like a buildup of asbestos, or mold or something. Like the more you let it accumulate, the more that it's going to be problematic for you, right? Not only harder to get rid of, harder to deal with, but it's going to attack your system, right? So it's kind of like it has to be dealt with the moment that you see it, the moment that you recognize that there is an issue, knowing it has the potential to get worse, it has the potential to spread, it has the potential to be a problem, right? So with any life circumstance, we see a problem, we fix it. You know, we see something that doesn't serve us, we get rid of it. Too much clutter, you declutter. Too much stress, you decompress. You know, like it's just these are the things, these are the principles. It should be a rapid fire, really, right? That the moment that you see something that's not working out, it's immediately something you should maybe make a little note about, or I'm gonna look into that a little bit more. Don't overwhelm yourself. If it's something that's really just simple and really just insignificant, you could overlook that, right? Don't obsess about it. But if it's something pertinent, or something that, looks a little bit iffy, maybe you want to see about it, maybe you need to get rid of it, maybe you got to see about, what to do with it or what to do with them. It's like that. Yeah, right. Isabella says exactly, positive stuff they hate. When you got a life, they don't have one, right? It's like you're not allowed to live your best life because I don't have things going on, but they'll act like they do. And that's where the competition comes in. I've been around people, that they're not doing nothing, they're not making moves, and then it's like when they see you doing your thing, they're trying to act like they're on some tip too. And it's all a facade, right? And it's all pretend, and it feels weird because you could probably sense the fakeness. You could probably sense that they're just doing this because of what I'm doing. They're trying to come to what I'm doing, or they're trying to copy. So much negativity in this world, right? And you still have a duty to be true to yourself and to be real with yourself, and to understand you just kind of have to coexist amongst these people. But there are mitigation tools that you could use that can be applied to your life depending on what the circumstance is, right? There are tools, there are resources, and you have recourse of what you can do when these kinds of negative situations present themselves. And sometimes all you could do is block that person, block that situation, end it, sever it, done, with no malice attached. There never has to be malice or being vengeful at the forefront. It's just wanting to maintain your freedom, wanting to maintain, a clear mind. That's all is required here. It's not to attack them or to get back at them. It's to get back to yourself. It's to get back to you, right? Right. Yep. Everybody, it's been so awesome hanging out with you guys tonight. And, once people show you their true colors, it's best to, and it's negative, it's best to reject that, move on, block. Oh well. Oh well. A lot of the times they didn't care what they were doing to us. They didn't care, it's not to say that we're trying to be cold and ruthless how they could have been to us, but it's just like, listen, you know, we don't have to be friends. We don't have to be cool. We don't have to kick it, right? You can kick rocks, right? I'm moving on, right? There's a heavy weight, and there's a heavy, a feeling to live your best life regardless of the circumstances that befall you, right? Like you really want to maintain this freedom and this peace that you probably really enjoy and really need in your life, right? The most freedom I've ever got in my life, to close the stream out, the most freedom I've ever received is when I started to block what no longer served me and blocked who no longer was good for my life. Before I took those choices or took those steps, I didn't feel like that. I felt trapped. Like I felt stuck. Like, what am I going to do now? Look at this situation, right? But then you have to remind yourself that you do have options. You have recourse. You have selections. You can make choices. You can take whichever step you want to take. You can move around these people. You don't have to deal with these situations. You could just take off, you know, and live your best life in that way. And those who regret it, well, let this be a lesson to them, because you could lose a real one, right? You could, maybe they lost you, right? Maybe they just, they went too far and they did too much, and, they caused too much havoc to unfold. And it's just kind of like, no, right? Like, you cannot be a participant in my life going forward. You did too much. You went too far. It could be like that, right? So, some people are all for second chances, but at the same time, you do want to be very careful what these chances encompass. What are the details? What's the criteria here? Are we just blindly giving people a chance to, wreak havoc in our life again and again and again? Like, what are we, there has to be something here. There has to be some kind of safeguarding that takes place when we're moving through life and we get attacked and we get played with, right? Um, People are going to come back with sob stories, cry, be in a huffy, oh, this, that, even be mad at you. Why would you do that? Why? Get mad, trying to make you feel bad for taking these steps, even though you were the victim. You know what I mean? You could have been the target, the victim. And it's like the gaslighting energy comes out, and people are trying to make it seem like, no, you should be okay with what they did to you. You need to take the punches. You need to deal with that. You need to roll with whatever they are and whoever they are. And too bad, if you don't like it. But little do they know, right? We have our own minds. We don't get down like that. If anything is trying to mess with our minds, we're out of there. We're out of there. Sayonara, arrivederci. I don't know if that's hello in Italian, Portuguese. Love the Italians, love the Portuguese people. Um, Pretty much saying goodbye. Right? Pretty much saying goodbye, wiping your hands clean of what no longer serves you, and going that way and going your way and living your best life by your own terms. You got to go your way, because people will purposely mislead you down a path that is not yours, trying to misguide you, trying to mislead you, because they know where you're trying to head to is pretty glorious. And they're trying to prevent that journey from continuing. And they'll throw wrenches in your plans. You know how they move, right? You got to block these people, block them from having the ability to do that, block them from being able to actually put forth these diabolical plans. Do what you must in the situation that you're in. If it applies, if it's something happening right now with you, you have recourse, you have options, and whatever, a remedy here that's going to help your situation, use it to your advantage, because it is your life that you're trying to safeguard, right? It is your life, it is your world. You got a lot of things that you're trying to do. So, keeping that into consideration, do you want that to be compromised by a hater, by a narc, by who? Like, right? Like, there has to be a point in time where that comes to an end. And like I said, you can't change these folks all the time, but you can change how you move. You could change what you accept. You could change how you want to, work with these situations, right? And so you have a lot of power. Use the power, and use the power for good. Use the power to fight against evil. Use the power to stand up, to speak out, to stand up for your own life, to safeguard your own life, to stand up for your belief system, for what you're trying to aim for. Protect your kids, protect your spouse, love humanity, do the best that you can, right? Spread joy, spread love, spread education, educate, and go out there and enlighten. And whatever doesn't serve you, block it. All right, everybody, block it. Just cut it out, cut it off, cut the cord, sever the tie, sever the situation, move on, change the scenery, switch it up, right? There's no harm in change, right? Change is good. You just have to look at it through a very specific lens. Change can be really good, right? You just got to see how it could be applied to your life to add to your elevation. All right, everybody? Truth said the devil is a liar, right? Thank you, everybody. Thank you guys for joining me tonight on the stream. I hope you guys liked it. Okay. Thank you guys so much. Block them. If you have to block them, block them. Okay. And for everybody who generously donated tonight, I thank you guys so much for that. That was really kind. All the likes, all the watches, all the commentary. Vox says, I forgot that you were from Canada, Toronto. Yep, you know it. Thank you guys so much. We're gonna kick it very soon, and I thank you guys for your time. Enjoy, your weekend here, and take care. And be your truest self. Be your truest self. Your truest form. Live your best life, everybody. All right, and just show a love and compassion for humanity at large, because I'm telling you, it feels lately like a rarity, right? So stand out and spread love and spread joy. All right, everybody. Thank you. Hope you guys enjoy the stream and live your best life. And I'll see you guys soon, okay? Thanks, guys. Bye.